Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Killer whale. The killer whale or orca is a toothed whale belonging to the oceanic dolphin family, of which it is the largest member. Killer whales have a diverse diet, although individual populations often specialize in particular types of prey. Some feed exclusively on fish, while others hunt marine mammals such as seals and dolphins. They have been known to attack baleen whale calves, and even adult whales. Killer whales are apex predators, as there is no animal that preys on them. Killer whales are considered a cosmopolitan species, and can be found in each of the world's oceans in a variety of marine environments, from Arctic and Antarctic regions to tropical seas. Killer whales are highly social. Some populations are composed of matrilineal family groups, which are the most stable of any animal species. Their sophisticated hunting techniques and vocal behaviors, which are often specific to a particular group and passed across generations, have been described as manifestations of animal culture. The International Union for Conservation of Nature currently assesses the orca's conservation status as data deficient, because of the likelihood that two or more killer whale types are separate species. Some local populations are considered threatened or endangered due to prey depletion, habitat loss, pollution, capture for marine mammal parks, and conflicts with human fisheries. In late 2005, the southern resident killer whales, the population that inhabits British Columbia and Washington state waters, were placed on the U.S. endangered species list. Wild killer whales are not considered a threat to humans, but there have been cases of captive orcas killing or injuring their handlers. At marine theme parks, killer whales feature strongly in the mythologies of indigenous cultures, with their reputation ranging from being the souls of humans to merciless killers. Taxonomy and evolution. Orcinus orca is the only recognized extant species in the genus Orcinus, one of many animal species originally described by Linnaeus in 1758 in Systema Naturae. Conrad Gessner wrote the first scientific description of a killer whale in his Fish Book of 1558, based on examination of a dead stranded animal in the Bay of Griswold that had attracted a great deal of local interest. The killer whale is one of 35 species in the oceanic dolphin family, which first appeared about 11 million years ago. The killer whale lineage probably branched off shortly thereafter, although it has morphological similarities with the pygmy killer whale, the false killer whale, and the pilot whales. A study of cytochrome B gene sequences by Richard Leduc indicated that its closest extant relatives are the snubfin dolphins of the genus Orca. Common names. English-speaking scientists most often use the term killer whale, although the term orca is increasingly used. Killer whale advocates point out it has a long heritage. Indeed, the genus name Orcinus means of the kingdom of the dead, or belonging to Orcus. Ancient Romans originally applied orca to these animals, possibly borrowing it from the Greek, which referred to a whale species. Since the 1960s, orca has steadily grown in popularity. Both names are now used. The term orca is euphemistically preferred by some, to avoid the negative connotations of killer, and because, being part of the family Delphinidae, the species is more closely related to other dolphins than to whales. According to some authors, the name killer whale is a mistranslation of the 18th-century Spanish name Asesina balenas, which means literally whale killer. Basque whalers would have given it such name after observing pods of orcas hunting baleen whales. They are sometimes referred to as blackfish, a name also used for other whale species. Grampus is a former name for the species, but is now seldom used. This meaning of Grampus should not be confused with the genus Grampus, whose only member is Rhesus dolphin. Types. The 3 to 5 types of killer whales may be distinct enough to be considered different races, subspecies, or possibly even species. The IUCN reported in 2008. The taxonomy of this genus is clearly in need of review, and it is likely that orca will be split into a number of different species or at least subspecies over the next few years. Although large variation in the ecological distinctiveness of different killer whale groups complicates simple differentiation into types, research off the west coast of Canada and the United States in the 1970s and 1980s identified the following 3 types: transients and residents live in the same areas, but avoid each other. The name transient originated from the belief that these killer whales were outcasts from larger resident pods. Researchers later discovered transients are not born into resident pods. The evolutionary split between the two groups is believed to have begun 2 million years ago. Genetic data indicate the types have not interbred for up to 10,000 years. Other populations have not been as well studied, although specialized fish and mammal-eating killer whales have been distinguished elsewhere. In addition, separate populations of generalist and specialist killer whales have been identified off northwestern Europe. As with residents and transients, the lifestyle of these whales appears to reflect their diet. Fish-eating killer whales in Alaska and Norway have resident-like social structures, while mammal-eating killer whales in Argentina and the Crozet Islands behave more like transients. 3 types have been documented in the Antarctic. 2 dwarf species, named Orcinus nanus and Orcinus glacialis, were described during the 1980s by Soviet researchers. But most cetacean researchers are skeptical about their status, and linking these directly to the types described below is difficult. Types B and C live close to the ice pack, and diatoms in these waters may be responsible for the yellowish coloring of both types. Mitochondrial DNA sequences support the theory that these are recently diverged separate species. More recently, complete mitochondrial sequencing indicates the 2 Antarctic groups that eat seals and fish should be recognized as distinct species, as should the North Pacific transients, leaving the others as subspecies pending additional data. Advanced methods that sequenced the entire mitochondrial genome revealed systematic differences in DNA between different populations. Mammal-eating killer whales were long thought likely to be closely related to other mammal-eating killer whales from different regions, but genetic testing refuted this hypothesis. The identified 7 ecotypes inhabit isolated ecological niches. Of 3 orca ecotypes in the Antarctic, 1 preys on minke whales, the second on seals and penguins, and the third on fish. Another ecotype lives in the eastern North Atlantic, while the 3 Northeast Pacific ecotypes are labeled the transient, resident, and offshore populations, as discussed above. The research supported a proposal to reclassify the Antarctic seal and fish-eating populations and the North Pacific transients as a distinct species, leaving the remaining ecotypes as subspecies. The first split in the orca population between the North Pacific transients and the rest occurred an estimated 700,000 years ago. Such a designation would mean that each new species becomes subject to separate conservation assessments. Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.